The payments industry moves fast. The economics behind it move even faster. Welcome to On the Wire, a show about the economics of payments, the institutions moving money, and the infrastructure underneath it all. This episode is produced by payware using AI voice synthesis, built from primary research, technical documentation, and real market data. No studio, no hosts, just the content, clearly presented. Let's get into it.
So, you tap your card for a €100 dinner, but the restaurant doesn't actually get €100.
Right.
Where does that missing money go? Today, we're ripping up the floorboards to expose the hidden plumbing of everyday transactions. Welcome to today's deep dive into the economics of payment processing, where we figure out exactly who is taking a cut of your money and, well, why.
It really is like the ultimate invisible tax. You don't see it. The restaurant just accepts it as the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
But there is a massive economic battle happening right beneath the surface of every single swipe, dip, or tap.
Yeah, okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine you are driving down a highway, and literally every single mile, you hit another toll booth.
Sounds exhausting.
Right. But when you swipe a traditional credit card, your money is essentially hitting 5 distinct toll booths before it ever reaches the merchant. You've got the issuing bank, the card network, the acquiring bank, the payment gateway, and the processor.
Yeah, and every single entity on that highway takes a slice of the pie. For merchants, that adds up to a total cost of anywhere from 0.8% to 2.5% of the transaction.
Which doesn't sound huge until you scale it up.
Exactly. But let's look at the actual technological cost of moving money today. If you look at a system like SEPA Instant, which is Europe's direct bank-to-bank electronic transfer system, the true infrastructure cost to move that money is literally pennies. Like just 2 to 5 cents.
Wait. So the math there is just wild. The actual cost is fractions of a cent on the dollar, but merchants are paying up to 2.5%.
Yeah.
Are these fees remotely justified by the service provided, or is this essentially, just a monopoly tax on businesses?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the biggest chunk of that cost is something called the interchange fee.
Right.
Which is basically the cut your specific bank takes for issuing you the plastic card. That fee is actually 2 to 6 times higher than the real mathematical costs of fraud prevention and network infrastructure.
Oh.
Yeah. You have to remember, traditional card processing is built on legacy 1980s architecture. Prices remain high, primarily because of market power and sheer network effects, not because it actually costs that much to process your payment today.
So if the markup is that astronomically high, it feels like a massive target on the backs of these card networks. Someone must be trying to undercut them by building a direct road.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
And that is where account-to-account or A2A infrastructure comes in.
Okay.
Networks like payware connect banks directly to each other. So instead of those 5 different toll booths, it's just one flat 0.5% fee.
Wow, that's a huge drop.
It is. And because it's a direct bank-to-bank connection, you get instant settlement in about 10 seconds. Plus, since no actual 16-digit card data is ever transmitted, merchants don't have to spend a fortune on PCI compliance.
Oh, right. Those incredibly strict, expensive security standards required for handling credit card numbers.
Exactly. It bypasses all of that.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because if I'm Visa or MasterCard and I have, billions in cash, why wouldn't I just look at this new direct road, slash my own toll prices down to 0.5%, and just suffocate these new A2A startups overnight?
It seems like the obvious move, right? But they actually can't. If we go back to your highway analogy, the card networks don't own the whole road.
Oh, they don't know.
They're essentially revenue sharing with those 4 other companies who built physical toll booths decades ago. So they have a massive structural disadvantage. A2A built an entirely new automated overpass.
I see.
They use cloud-native technology, meaning it was built entirely on modern servers with 0 legacy hardware holding it back. The card networks are carrying the weight of decades of manual infrastructure costs and, profit-sharing agreements.
Dropping from a 2% fee down to 0.5% obviously sounds nice on a spreadsheet, but let's talk about how that actually alters a company's survival.
Yeah, let's look at the real-world impact.
Right, so take this real-world example from our deep dive. A subscription software company recently switched just 40% of their payments to this direct A2A system. And they said 598,000 euros annually.
That is massive.
And the craziest part? The bulk of those savings wasn't even from the lower fees. It was from eliminating involuntary churn.
Which is a huge hidden cost for businesses that consumers really rarely think about.
Exactly. You know, when you get a new debit card in the mail and you have to spend like an annoying hour updating your Netflix, Spotify gym memberships.
Oh, I absolutely hate doing that.
Right. Everyone does. And often people just forget or don't bother and the company loses a customer. That's involuntary churn. By connecting directly to the bank account, the account never expires like a piece of plastic does. The merchant never loses you.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this kind of fee compression isn't just a temporary startup trend. It is structural and inevitable. A2A adoption isn't about replacing cards entirely, though.
It's not.
No, we're looking at a profound rebalancing of the market. Cards are going to become a niche for very specific use cases like credit lending or international travel, while direct bank payments handle the bulk of everyday domestic transactions.
So the next time you tap your phone or scan a QR code to pay for that €100 dinner, consider the invisible economic battle happening behind the scenes just to save that 2% margin. The legacy toll booths are finally coming down.
Yeah, the infrastructure is there, and the friction of paying is dropping fast.
Which leaves you with this to chew on. If the fundamental cost of transferring money inevitably drops to near zero everywhere, what entirely new business models or microeconomies become possible when the friction of paying simply disappears?
That's On the Wire, produced by payware, the transaction resolution network for instant A2A payments. This episode was AI generated from payware's published research and documentation. If something sparked a question, the full source material is available at payware.eu. If you work in payments at a bank, an ISV, or a merchant organization, and what you heard is relevant to what you're building, reach out. The conversation doesn't have to stop here. Subscribe to On the Wire wherever you listen to podcasts. The next episode is already waiting.